Hello Chicago students. We're going to move on in our scale activity now to the key of G. So we're going to start with the one position scales, and it's going to go like this with one sharp, F sharp, right? And similarly, okay, just like that. Okay, up first through fifth positions. The first 5 positions in the key of G major, 1 sharp. Okay, remember that we're doing this for our ears, our brains, and our hands. And so for our brains, we're going to say note names. So like E, F sharp, G, A, B, C natural, D, E, F sharp, like that. Okay, saying the note name ahead of time. For our ears, we could think of scale degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. So you're relating them to scale degrees in the key of G. We can talk more about this, but it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay? For your hand, you can start thinking of hand patterns. And I call this one 1, half step after 1, I call 1. This one, half step after 2, I call 2. This one, half step after 3, I call 3. All 4 fingers apart, I call 4. So in the key of G major, you'd have second position, say G major second position, you'd have 2, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1, 2. Hope that makes sense to you. We'll talk about it more. So that's the one position scale, which we've talked about in terms of the brain, the ear, and the hand. Okay? So now we're going to talk about the one position arpeggio. This is something that gave you a little bit more trouble. And in fact, when I was in Chicago, I was teaching people in Chicago Symphony, and some of them had trouble getting used to this idea. But once they did, it was good and helpful for them. So in the key, remember we're playing the lowest note we can, that's a member of the triad, and we're not using open strings. So in the case of G major, G, B, D are those 3 notes, and the lowest one is D, right? So G, B, D, we can play a D. So that would be the first position one. And we could do this by brain, 2 ways by brain. Say D, G, B, D, G, B, D, or by position in the chord. Remember in the G major it's 1, 3, 5, G is 1, B is 3, D is 5, so this would be 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Okay? So I'd like you to do it by brain both of those ways, if you could. Just a word about cheat sheets and stuff like that. It's kind of a good idea as long as you work it out. You might work it out on a cheat sheet and look at it the first couple days. I think that if you spend too much time looking at the cheat sheet, you're not absorbing it in your brain. So use the cheat sheet just like you would use crutches to recover from some injury, and you move yourself out of that phase kind of as soon as possible if you can. Okay, so the one position arpeggio would be, and again we do them separate bows and then 3 per bow if you could. Faster on up to 6 per bow, okay? Second position, we can't play the D anymore. So the lowest one we could play is the G. And here we run out of notes. We can't actually play the high G without stretching, so we just repeat the top note in this one. Okay? Third position, we start out the same way. We can actually play the top note. Fourth position, it's the same set of notes. And fifth position, we can't play the G anymore, so we have to start on the B. Alright, one thing I'd like you to notice when I do this is that my elbow should travel quite a bit. Let me play the second position one. So I'm making a string crossing with both sides of my body, or with both of my arms. So again, separate bows, 3 per bow as you could do it, 6 per bow would be great. You could do some separate bows and some rhythms, holding the first, holding the second note, holding the third note. All those different ways of doing it. Very, very helpful. Now, let's move on to the 2-octave shift. Most of you were pretty good with that. We were going from C to shining C. Now you should change that and improve that. Challenge yourself with that. So don't only go from second finger, but go from third finger, first finger, notice that the thumb goes gracefully and beautifully up alongside the fingerboard there, leaving it as far back as you comfortably can so that your fingers are nice and rounded here, but not over-rotated. Okay, so that's basically all the same shift, isn't it? No matter where we're starting from first position, we're using different notes, but it's the same shift. So you could then change the shift by going, let's say, the second finger D. That's a lower bass, a different bass position, a higher bass position. Or you can go to E. Or F with second finger. All ways of challenging yourself. Or you could go down over a string. So F on the D string with second finger. I just illustrated something important there where I had to pull the bow closer to the bridge. It's a great way to teach you to get close to the bridge when you go up high. Then you could do, for like example, third finger A, which goes from second position. Etc. So starting in a bunch of, first, second, third position, fourth position, with first, second, third, maybe fourth fingers. Start on the A string, do some D string, do some G string, maybe go down to the C string. Okay? So that is one chunk that I think I'll put on YouTube. YouTube generally divides up into 10-minute segments. So this first chunk will be 1 position scales, 1 position arpeggios, and the shifts, 2-octave shifts. Watch this as many times as you need to get the stuff. Take some notes, make a cheat sheet, but then try to get it in your head and your ear. Okay, I'll be back with another video.